What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So guys, the World Series, the Fall Classic, is starting tonight between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Game 1 in Toronto, starting in a few hours at the time of making this video. So I just had to come out with a prediction video for you guys, give you my opinion on who I think is going to win the series, break down what some of the key elements, like what's going down in the series, what do I think is going to happen. Guys, make sure to comment your opinions. I want to hear what you guys think is going to go down, how this World Series is going to be, and give me who you think is going to win the World Series in how many games in the comments below. So guys, with that being said, let's talk about it. The Toronto Blue Jays, Los Angeles Dodgers, Fall Classic. What are we thinking, right? So for me, as a Dodgers fan, right, I'm gonna try to keep this objective a little bit, try to give it an honest breakdown on both sides. So first of all, I really just love this matchup between these two teams. These are two incredible offenses in slightly different ways because, you know, when you first think of the Dodgers, you think of like dominant, right? You think of power, you think of stardom, obviously Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, everyone, no breaks in this lineup. The Dodgers are known for working the count, drawing walks, getting clutch hits with their experience, obviously all factoring in, and of course the big hits, the home runs, the Ohtani second deck off the pavilion, you know, those big time hits. That's what you think of when you think of the Dodgers, the big boppers, right? But then on the other hand, you have the Toronto Blue Jays, who I have loved seeing how their offense has operated throughout the entire regular season. And not only has it carried to the playoffs, but their offense has been even better in the playoffs. This is a lineup led by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the George Springers of the world. You're going to have a ton of power in this lineup. They do provide the power. But what I really love about the Blue Jays lineup is just how disciplined they are at hitting, how well they put the ball in play, and just do not strike out. The Blue Jays have the second best strikeout rate as an offense this year in the regular season, and I'm pretty sure they have not struck out more than like 7 times in a single playoff game this year, except for like one. They had one double-digit strikeout game, but every other game, they're putting up a ton of runs, it seems like, and they're barely striking out. So they are tough outs. I love the depth of this lineup, how they put the ball in play, how as a team they keep the line moving. So I love the way that this Blue Jays offense operates, and it's going to be tough. When you're a team that doesn't strike out in the playoffs, that is absolutely ideal. So I just love how they do not strike out, put the ball in play, combine that with power and clutch hits, but just make it tough on any pitcher that comes to face them. But if there was a pitching staff that would make it tough on the Toronto Blue Jays, it's the Dodgers pitching staff, not to mention, of course, how great the starting pitching has been for the Dodgers. So the question is, how can the Blue Jays offense do against Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto? You got obviously Tyler Glasnow, Ohtani, the 4th starter. So I just can't wait to see elite starting pitching from the Dodgers versus elite plate discipline and hitting from the Blue Jays. That's one of the huge things I'm looking forward to in this series. So both hitting lineups, both batting orders, both offenses are extremely good, super good, and in their own way, some similarities, both very disciplined, but these offenses will get going and will be difficult to contain. So a very good matchup on the offensive end. And then on the defensive side of things with your pitching, the Dodgers and Blue Jays both, I would say, are starting dominant, you know, with the Dodgers having those 4 great pitchers and them kind of carrying them through the whole postseason so far. But then you also have the Blue Jays, who have had the likes of Kevin Gausman be really solid through this whole postseason run. The rookie Trey Yesavage, who's been an amazing story. Who would have seen that coming, right? He's kind of like their second starter, right? And then you have Shane Bieber, the experienced guy who stepped up and done a good job and filling in, being that 3rd starter on this team, as well as wild card Max Scherzer, the veteran, the future Hall of Famer. So I love the whole Scherzer versus Kershaw kind of matchup as well. So starting pitching, it seems like both teams do kind of lean more on starting pitching. They are heavier in the starting rotation. So the question is, which team can get to the bullpen earlier and more consistently? Which offenses can get to the starting pitching earlier, and then who can force the hand and get into that pitching staff's bullpen earlier, obviously. And then both these teams do also share this in common. They do struggle slightly in the bullpen relative to how good these teams are. You know, the Dodgers bullpen, it's been well known, well documented that their bullpen has struggled throughout the regular season with their closers having issues closing games, all those blown saves. But obviously, the Dodgers have found an absolute gem in the bullpen in Roki Sasaki, being a pretty shutdown closer through this playoff run. So that's been awesome to see. And then the Dodgers starting pitching is so deep that you got guys like Emmett Sheehan in the bullpen that can contribute, as well as maybe someone like Clayton Kershaw eating innings. And then some of their other guys are going to have to step up, but their bullpen has found some solutions with the Sasaki being the closer and the Dodgers starting pitchers stepping into the bullpen when they need to. And the Blue Jays, they do have a really solid closer in Jeff Hoffman. Statistically, he's had a great year, but they do have, I feel like they do, like the Dodgers, they do have a lot of solid guys in their bullpen, but it has been shaky. It was an average, middling bullpen in the regular season, and in these playoffs, they have actually been like even worse than they were in the regular season. The bullpen has been kind of shaky, and they just don't have a lot of guys that really like scare you. They don't really have a powerhouse in the bullpen, someone who's just going to blow you away with their velo and their stuff. Even though they have a lot of really solid guys, it's a lot more solid guys than like a bunch of elite arms. So both these bullpens kind of share the shakiness factor a little bit. So how these bullpens do and how quick the offenses, on the other hand, can get to the bullpens will be key. So these are two strong starting staffs. I definitely lean toward the Dodgers in the strength department between those two. The Dodgers have, these four starters have been historically great in these playoffs. So Dodgers have the elitist of the elite starting staff. Blue Jays, very, very good starting staff. Dodgers, decent bullpen. Blue Jays, I'll give it to them, decent bullpen as well. And then you have great hitting. So there are those similarities, right? So with all that being said, who do I have winning the World Series? So I love the Blue Jays, first of all. I really do respect the Blue Jays, what they've done. I have Canadian cousins. I would root for the Blue Jays in a lot of matchups. And this is going to be a close series. I love that I think it's great that the Blue Jays have the home field, because I think it creates more balance, more interest for a new upcoming team that hasn't been there in 30 plus years, compared to the Dodgers, who just won last year and are looking like a modern dynasty if they can win this series. So it's going to be a great series. I think the two teams are going to split the first two games one way or another. We might have some high scoring games with the great offenses, and it's going to come down to those big spots, the big spots where a bullpen arm's got to get that big out, or a starting pitcher goes deep into the game and has to help them, maybe prevent them from getting to the bullpen. You know, those big outs, right, against big time hitters. But at the end of the day, I think the Dodgers starters might not be as dominant as previous series, because it's going to be tough to get strikeouts, as many as they have, and just frankly get outs against the Blue Jays' elite hitting. So I think the starters will do well on both ends, but I just think that the combination of experience with the Dodgers, and it's just, at the end of the day, I don't really know about the Blue Jays bullpen and their starters in terms of locking down the Dodgers hitters. I just think the Dodgers lineup is too deep. And for the Blue Jays pitching, their pitching overall is good, but it's not their biggest strength. It's their hitting. And I take the Dodgers starters, their elite arms, and their overall pitching over the Blue Jays tough hitting slightly more than I do over the Blue Jays starters, and especially the Blue Jays bullpen stopping Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and the entire lineup. I mean, you go down the lineup: Will Smith, Max Muncy, Teo Hernandez. You got Kike Hernandez, Andy Paz, Tommy Edman. It just doesn't stop. And same with the Blue Jays. But the Dodgers starting pitching is super elite. So super elite starting pitching and pitching overall can stop the super elite hitting, or at least has a better chance to. So I just think the Dodgers elite hitting will be a little too much for the Blue Jays pitching, more so than the Dodgers or more so than the Dodgers bullpen not being able to handle the Blue Jays hitting and their pitching overall. So long story short, guys, I think it'll be a thrilling series. A lot of close games, some high-scoring games possible too. A lot of thrills, a lot of moments, a lot of star power here. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers to win the World Series in 6 games. I say Dodgers win 4-2. I think their hitting's just going to be a little too much for the Blue Jays pitching. I just don't think the Blue Jays pitching overall scares the Dodgers enough. I don't think it'll be enough to contain the Dodgers. And the Dodgers pitching might struggle too with the Blue Jays, trust me. But the Dodgers pitching, their starting pitching has been able to stop everyone along the way. So I just trust them a little more overall. So Blue Jays, awesome season. They could still win. This is going to be closer than maybe people think, in my opinion. I think this will be a close series, but I just think the Dodgers, I think it's their moment. I think it's their time. I think they're going to go back-to-back for the first time in franchise history. So guys, comment your opinions. Let me know everything you feel about this series. Who do you have winning and in how many games? Like the video if you enjoyed. And guys, I hope you enjoy the World Series as much as I'm going to. Cannot wait. October, great time of year for sports. Baseball, football, basketball starting up. Can't wait for this game, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. It's going to be awesome. Game 1 of the World Series, Dodgers, Blue Jays. Let me know who you think's going to win. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And I'll see you all in the next one.